Tadparamparya Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayate Om. Om Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Gita Ananda Giri Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome back to our online spot, a place, a loka, where we can all come together in the spirit of yoga. For those of you who are fortunate enough, you had a chance to listen to Ammaji online last night on the Ministry of Ayush Facebook page in conversation with Dr. Ishwar Basavareddy, the director of Moraji Desai National Institute for Yoga. A very beautiful session with Ammaji, where Ammaji reminded us that the essence of yoga is to have a cheerful heart. Hasya Hridaya. A heart that can be cheerful. Reminds us of Maharishi Patanjali's concept of being cheerful. Mudita Punya, as he says, be cheerful towards the people who are trying to be good people, people who are trying to do the right thing. Be the cheerleaders, as we have said, cheerleaders of humanity. Such a beautiful message from Ammaji last night. And for those of you who missed it, just go to the Ministry of Ayush Facebook page and the video is there. I have shared it wherever I can on all the Facebook pages and groups that are there. So please have a look there. Don't miss it. It's been a few months of trying to get Amma online, and it took the special efforts of Dr. Basavareddy, for which we are grateful. Yes, ICYER, be a good human being and cheerful. Such a message that Ammaji has given us. As someone wrote to me later, they said it is asampramosha, which means that which is beyond knowledge that is coming, wisdom that is coming from beyond knowledge and wisdom or information obtained from worldly sources. And definitely Ammaji's message is like the message of Swamiji, something that is way beyond. It's coming from someplace much higher. And real beautiful moment last night to see it manifest. And we are truly blessed. Truly blessed. Continuing with our Bindu Sadhana. The Bindus are these foci of consciousness, an aperture through which the unmanifest and the manifest can communicate. And we have seen the externalized Bindus that can be used as focal points of contemplation. So when you are sitting quietly, you can be contemplating the Mula Bindu at the base of the spine. You can be contemplating the Nabi Bindu at the navel center. This is where the original belly gazing came from. The joke about belly gazing when you are meditating came from the Nabi Bindu Trataka, where you focus on the navel. You can, as Ammaji said yesterday, if you want a cheerful heart, well, you could also focus on the Hridaya Bindu, the Kanta Bindu at the throat, the Nasagra Bindu, which is a very important point. Nasagra Bindu is a very important point, externalized. I'll come to it in a few moments. We have been working on the Bhru Madhya, and then at the top of the head we have the Trikuti, about which we have discussed. The Nasagra Bindu is a point where you are focusing at the tip of the nose, right here. Nasa is the nose, Agra means towards. And that is why we have the Agra Mudra, where we do the Namaskar Mudra and we stretch it forward like that. So the stretching forward of the Namaskar Mudra and then back, this is called Agra Mudra. The forward, towards. Agra means towards. Nasagra means you are focusing your gaze, your drishti, towards the tip of the nose. So then it becomes Nasagra Drishti as a form of Trataka. Trataka is one of the Shatkarmas, the Shatkriyas of Hatha Yoga tradition. But at the same time, Trataka is a preparatory practice for concentration. Because in Trataka, there is the focusing, defocusing happening, where you start to learn the message of the Bhagavad Gita, which is to see action in inaction and inaction in action. To see karma in akarma and akarma in karma. To see the duality in one. So, in Trataka, Nasagra Drishti Trataka, you are focusing your gaze. The two eyes are focusing at the tip of the nostril, the nose. And this becomes a contemplative point. And you are actually then contemplating the Nasagra Bindu, the focal point of consciousness that is here. Now, why should you focus on the tip of your nose? You can focus on your toes also. That is also a drishti point in some asanas. You can focus on the fingers, in the drishti, angula drishti, the drishti points in asanas. Yes. But why does this become a bindu? You don't talk about the toes or the fingers being bindus. But here we have the word nasagra bindu. The reason this happens is that when you focus here, it is not just the tip of the nose you are focusing on, but you are focusing on the breath coming in and going out. You are becoming mindful. The moment you focus here, you are becoming mindful of your breath. So one of the key processes of the Nasagra Bindu focal contemplation is you are becoming more aware of that beautiful airflow coming in and the airflow going out. The air coming in as you inhale and the air going out as you exhale. The focusing on the inhalation and the exhalation. Again, Bhagavad Gita offering the prana into the apana and the apana into the prana. The prana and apana can be understood as the inhalation and exhalation in this context. The prana is the incoming breath, the apana as the outgoing breath. This is one more contemplation when you focus here. Prachardana vidaranabhyam pranasya, Patanjali tells us, when you want to stabilize the mind, focusing on inhalation and exhalation with more importance on exhalation because you want to let go of the individuality. The more you let go of the individuality, the more the universality has space to manifest. If your big, flat, fat, bloated ego is occupying all the space, the universe has no place to come in. So it says, well, first you empty. That is why when we start breathing, we often start with breathing out. Create space so that then manifestation can occur. Space has to be there for manifestation to occur. Without space, manifestation cannot occur. Another concept here is the Shwasa Prashwasa. Shwasa is understood as the inhalation. This is from Maharishi Patanjali's Yoga Darshana. Shwasa Prashwasa, where the inhalation, Shwasa, and the exhalation, Prashwasa. And by focusing here, what are you focusing on? The pattern of breathing in and breathing out, Gati. Gati means the pattern. In Indian music, we have what is called the Gati, or in Tamil Nadu we talk about the concept of Nadai. Nadai means the gate, G-A-I-T. And interestingly, the English word gate, G-A-I-T, not G-A-T-E. And not Bill Gates. Gati means a gate, G-A-I-T. You just have to change G-A-I-T and G-A-T-I. Gati. It is a pattern. And in Indian music, we have the different gatis. For example, the Chatusra Gati. Chatusra means 4. Like when we crawl around, it's Chatushpada. So, ta ka dhi mi, ta ka dhi mi, ta ka dhi mi, ta ka dhi mi, ta ka dhi mi. That's 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is called Chatusra Nadai or Chatusra Gati, where walk. Yes, violin, walk. Gati is to move. It's a movement. You have the Tisra Gati, 3. Tisra means 3. Ta ki ta, ta ki ta, ta ki ta. 1, 2, 3. Ta ki ta, ta ki ta. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ta ki ta. It's a Tisra Gati. So you have the Chatusra, takka dhimi, takka dhimi, takka dhimi, and then you have takita, 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 takita. There's a change in the pattern. In the gate changes, the rhythm changes, the pattern changes, the movement changes, the energy changes. And then you want dynamism, 5. Taka takita, taka takita, taka takita, tam tam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tam tam. Taka takita, tam tam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tam tam. Taka takita, taka takita, taka takita, taka takita. Dum dum ta dum dum ta. This is the dynamism when you have, a very important thing going to happen, like people are going to fight or beat up each other. So in our dance, we immediately go for that. Taka takita, taka takita, taka takita, tam tam. Taka takita. That is the dynamism of the fight. These are in the rhythmic patterns. You have the 7. Takita, taka, dhimi, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. A totally different one. Such a different energy comes. And then the 9. Taka, dhimi, taka, takita, taka, dhimi, taka, takita. It's like the deity, sort of moving in the flow. It's like the boat flow. It's like when you are in the Indian trains. What I love about trains in India, you have all these rhythmic patterns. Taka dhimi, taka takita, taka dhimi, taka takita, 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 taka dhimi, taka dhimi, taka dhimi, taka takita, taka takita. You can have all these rhythms when you are in Indian trains, and you can just enjoy this rhythmic pattern. When I used to be going to Varda for my medical training, I used to travel. It was 18 hours of train from Chennai to Varda. And those 18 hours, you used to enjoy these rhythmic patterns that would be running in your head as you listen to the train and you feel this gati. All of these are part of the Indian cultural ethos. And what we want to do is we want to take it out. People are busy taking the spirit out of yoga and yoga therapy. Very disappointing when you see what is happening in the world today. You have to keep the yoga in yoga. You have to keep the yoga in yoga therapy. How can it be yoga therapy if there's no yoga in it? It's just therapy. It's not yoga therapy. I remember some years back, someone, a yoga therapist, talking about when people come to you for yoga therapy, don't teach them yoga, give them yoga therapy. And I'm like, seriously? It's a very thin line. I know people are trying to have a thick line, like a big border wall. That's the modern tendency. Build a wall, build a wall, build a wall. So there has to be a wall between yoga and yoga therapy. You don't need a wall. You don't need a wall. But because of professionalism, we want to have a wall so that we can go into the insurance scheme, so that we can be like others. Why you want to be like others? Maintain your individuality for God's sake. That's Gangster Yogi. Maintain your individuality, says Gangster Yogi. Don't try to be like others. You will never be at ease if you are trying to be like others. You can only be at ease when you are being you. If we are going to be yoga therapists, we have to be yoga therapists, not try to be like somebody else. And that is what is happening today. My father, so many years ago, I really, what he would say today, maybe it's what I'm saying. I had such a beautiful compliment from a dear, loving mentor, one of my very loving mentors yesterday, where he said, your father was there for a certain time frame of human history. You are here for this time frame of human history, where people are in this frenzy. I just hope I can be worthy of such love, because such a frenzied world where we are building walls. We want everything to be different. Break everything down into pieces. If you break things down into pieces, you will have no peace. Peace only occurs when things are complete. Wholesomeness is where peace lies. In Purnam, that is why Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishtate. It is only in that Purnam, in that wholesomeness, that peace will be there. If you break things down into pieces, you will go to pieces and you will never have peace. Okay, that's my morning rant for today. Focusing on the breath coming in and breath going out. That is why Nasagra Drishti. That is why the Bindu is there. Nasagra Bindu. It is a focal point of consciousness where you start to tap in. By focusing here, you tap into what is prana. Because if you want to understand prana, you need to understand the patterns of prana. We need to understand the patterns, the gati, the gate of the pranic flow. Gati is what we need to understand. For that, we need to focus on the breath, because the breath is the physical medium through which the energy can be understood. If you are not breathing, it means there's no prana. It means you are dead. The lack of prana is the lack of life, is death. And that is why, if I say, is there electricity? What do? You look at the light. There's light, there's electricity. The fan is moving, there's electricity. Your electronic equipment is working, there's electricity. So you deduce, in Patanjali's system, Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramanani. Pramana, which is cognitive process to obtain what we perceive as true knowledge or right perception, through Pratyaksha, direct perception, Anumana, inference, and Agama, reliable testimony. The second one, Anumana, inference, not interference, inference. You infer. When you focus on the Nasagra Bindu, through the process of Nasagra Drishti and Trataka and other contemplative practices, you are using your focus on the breath to start to infer the pranic flow. And when you start to understand Shwasa Prashwasa, your Gati, it is only when you understand it that you can go beyond it. Gati Vicheda Pranayama. Very, very important. Yes, Soundarajan. When we are talking about the Nadai is very similar to the flow in the Nadis. These all come from a similar root. I'm not talking about linguistic roots. I'm talking about energetic, spiritual, universal roots. And I don't care what people who are in grammar talk about it. The word nadai, which is the Tamil word for gate, nadi, which is where the flow is. What is the flow? The way you walk is the way you flow. The way you move. That is what gati is. All of these are intertwined. Do not separate them. Start to connect the pieces. That is why you have been born human with this part of your brain to think about it, to contemplate it. And yes, amanadai, like a turtle, as Amma was talking about turtles last night. You don't expect a turtle to have a certain consciousness, but you expect human beings to. And that is where the expectation leads to disappointment, I think. When we focus on the tip of the nose, it is not just the tip of the nose. It is to enhance our awareness, because the moment your eye goes there, you start to focus there. There's a beautiful concept in Indian dance, and it talks about yatho hasta tato drishti, where your hands go. Yatho hasta, where your hand goes, there your drishti, your eyes follow. Yatho hasta tato drishti, yato drishti tato manah, where your eyes go. Where your eyes go, there your mind goes. Where your hands go, your eyes go. Where your eyes go, your mind goes. Yato hasta tato drishti, yato drishti tato manah, yato manah tato bhavo. Where your mind goes, the attitude comes there, the bhava comes there. Yato manah tato bhavo, yato bhavas tato rasah. The essence, the rasa, comes alive when the bhava is there. Where your hand goes, your eyes go. Where your eye goes, your mind goes. Where your mind goes, your attitude goes. And where your attitude goes, there the essence manifests. This is in connection to dance. So, wherever you are putting your hand, you follow your eyes there. As part of educing the rasa that you want to have, the essence that you want to manifest in the dance. It's not just for dance, it's for life. And that is why it is so important. What is so important here is that the breath is a breath of life. And the moment you focus on this nasagra drishti, this nasagra bindu, what you are doing is you are starting to become mindful of your breath. And what is happening when you breathe? When you breathe in, the universe is coming in. The universality is coming in. There's a beautiful sound. A sibilant sound. When you breathe in, and I came close so you could hear it. Not so you could see my big nose. This is the universe, the Saha, the highest self, the Sa, coming in. And when you breathe out, the Ahamkara, the I, the individuality is let out. Aham, aham. When you breathe in, the Saha coming in. When you breathe out, the aham being given out. And this becomes the hum, sa. Remember I said you have to create space. The aham has to go out for the saha to come in. So it is called the hamsa mantra, or hamsa japa, or hamsa gayatri. And when you breathe out, the next breath in is the saha comes in, the so. When it joins together, the hamsa, when it comes back, it becomes the so hum. Hum, sa, so hum. Hum, sa. So when you're looking at it from your angle, it is hum, sa. From the divine angle, it is so hum. People get confused. Dr. Ananda, I've had this question. That's why you should teach, you get all these questions. A beautiful question. A beautiful question. And yes, Govilin, this is the base of the Ujjayi. But in the Ujjayi, the focus shifts to the Kanta Bindu. Okay? So the same process, but you shift the focus to the Kanta Bindu, and that is where the Ujjayi occurs with the Kanta Bindu focus. People say, Dr. Ananda, you said hum, breathing out, and you said sa, coming in. Then do I have to breathe in again for the so hum to occur? So they are looking as a breathe out, breathe in. Without breathing out, you have to breathe in and then breathe out. They say that's not possible. I say, yeah, it's not possible because that is total absolute craziness. You have to breathe out to breathe in, and you have to breathe in to breathe out. Okay. But you cannot breathe out, breathe in, then breathe in, breathe out. It doesn't happen. But when we teach it, we say hamsa, so hum. And people get confused. The hamsa part is our perspective from where we are. We need to let go of the aham, the individuality, for the universality to come in. So from our perspective, it is hamsa. Every breath is a hamsa. From our perspective, as an individual, we give up the individuality for the universality to come in. But from the universal perspective, the universe has to come in for us to give up something. The great Shaivite masters of South India, they say, even to worship the divine, you need the grace of the divine. Avan arulale, avan tal vanangi. We think I am worshipping God. God should be grateful to me. The fact that you worship God is because of God's grace. The fact that you are making the effort is because of the grace of the universe. But in our egotistical thing, we say, I am doing it. I have worshipped you, so you better give me something. How egotistical. What nonsense. So from the universal perspective, the universe is saying, here is an opportunity for you to have me in you. This is the drop coming out of the ocean. The drop coming out of the ocean is allowing the drop to be an individual. It is the so, and then the individuality becomes the universality. Hum. So from the ocean, the drop is coming out. So, and then coming back, hum. From the drop's perspective, it has to go back into the universe. Hum, and then it can come back as a drop again. Saha. So important. We have to give ourselves, and then the divine comes back. So true, Terry. We need to always. This is why, unless the ahamkara is given up, that is where the concept of Ishvara Pranidhana is so important in Kriya Yoga. It is the moment where you have done your best and you leave the rest. You give over to the higher nature. You give in to that highest dictate. That is where that capacity, as the Christ Master, the great yogi says, thy will be done. That is the hamsa. So the hamsa is us as the individual. The soham is the universe coming into us and going out. So it's one and the same. So we say hamsa soham. It is the hamsa gayatri because it is from our perspective, and it is called the Ajapa japa. Japa means a repetition. But because it is happening even without us knowing, every time we breathe out there is a hum, every time we breathe in there is a sa. The hamsa soham is going on 21,600 times a day if you are breathing 15 times a minute. 15 into 60 into 24, you do the calculations. 21,600, 2 plus 1 plus 6, 9. For those in the Yantra course, you get the 9. 21,600 times per day. We are repeating this japa whether we know it or not. So it is called Ajapa japa and Ajapa Gayatri. Very true, Dr. Meena. When we were doing the prana kriya yesterday, the same coming in, that we are going out and then coming back in. This going out is there, going out and giving of the self, so that self, the smaller self is given out, so that the larger self. So yes, there is a correlation, but the breath pattern changes, because there the breathing is going out and coming back in. So the pattern changes, and so direct connotation becomes a bit difficult, because normally breathing out is giving of the self. Breathing in is bringing the universe in. Whereas in the prana kriya, it is going out for the sensory experience and then coming back in to be settled within ourselves. Someone said, why can't we do it the reverse? If you do it the reverse, you know what happens? You go out and get locked in the senses. That is why you have to breathe in and go out. It is the expansion going out, but then you come back and you reside in yourself. Very true. The divine breathing life into the soul and feeling the breath. The first breath of life, when the baby comes out of the mother's womb and lifts the head up, and that is that moment where the universe comes into us. The Saha has come in. And when we breathe out, that last breath, the hum going out. And that is why the whole of the lifespan can be understood as the time period between the first inhalation and the last exhalation. With the first inhalation, the universe comes into us. And with the last exhalation, we go back to the universe. Every breath is a mini lifetime. Every breath is a mini lifetime. People are like, is the incarnation? Do we come back? Have we been here before? Every breath is a lifetime. Every breath. Every time you breathe in, it's a new opportunity. Every time you breathe out, it is an opportunity to let go of everything and be free. That is why the exhalation is given so much importance in yoga. Because when your exhalation is conscious, normally for most people, the exhalation is not conscious. It just happens. See, inhalation occurs actively, but exhalation is passively, just by elastic recoil of the apparatus, respiratory apparatus. In yoga, when you start to bring consciousness into the exhalation, when you start to extend the exhalation, you're actually giving over to the higher. It is such an important part of letting go. That is why when we focus on the Nasagra Bindu, what we are doing is we are becoming aware of all these things. All of these are becoming real for us. A very beautiful energy that is there. Just focusing on the tip of the nose, the Nasagra Bindu. Being aware as the breath comes in through the nostrils. Being aware as the breath goes out. Breathing in. And breathing out. One of the ways to heighten this awareness is to feel the difference in the temperature. The cool, inspired air coming in. And the warm air heated up by the body metabolism going out. The cool inspiration and the warm expiration. A beautiful sense of coolness coming in. And a sense of warmth going out. Letting your mind focus at the tip of the nostrils, the nose. Even as your eyes are closed, let your eyes focus towards the tip of the nose. And being aware of the breath coming in and going out. The flow of the prana and the apana, offering of the prana into the apana and the apana into the prana. Being aware of the hamsa soham, ajapa japa, ajapa gayatri. Begin to move your fingers, rubbing your palms together, placing the warm palms over your eyes, forehead and the head. When we are focusing like this, it is such a beautiful concept. And yes, Ram Kumar, very true, Vasi Yogam. Because the same concept of Hamsa Soham has been understood by our Siddhas as Ba-Si. The Hamsa Soham is Ba-Si, Si, Ba. So Shiva is not just the god sitting in Kailash, riding the bull, but Shiva is actually the breath itself. And understanding that through the repetition of the Va-Si, the Hamsa, one realizes the opposite, which is the Shiva. This is the concept of the Rama Japa also. Ma-Ra is repeated. Ma-Ra, Ma-Ra, Ma-Ra. It starts with the Ma. Ma-Ra. And then it becomes the Rama. Ma-Ra, 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 Ma-Ra. Same thing. Va-Siva, Siva, 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 Siva. That is the same principle. The Hamsa, Soham, the Vasi, which is related to the energy coming in and going out. The South Indian tradition calls it Vasi Yogam, and it is found in so many traditions. The cultural context is so important to understand the totality of these teachings. They are not just techniques. They are not dry techniques, but they are living principles. And when these practices are done, those living principles of universal nature come alive in us. Wishing you a wonderful day or night, whichever part of the world you are. And we take this forward as we go on. And let's just do our best, as Ammaji so beautifully reminded us last night. Be a cheerful, noble human being. That is what a yogi is. A cheerful, noble human being. Let's be that.